All right, let's play a little what's more likely divisional round style. 4 great games this weekend. Let's begin with that Browns-Chiefs game. What's more likely? The Cleveland Browns get a 10-point lead at any point, or they trail the entire game. What's more likely?
Man, both of those could happen. You know what? The last thing with that Sammy Watkins thing, too. Like, you might not even play this week. Well, don't even comment. You don't even know if you're playing. I don't get that. Okay, sorry. Wow, Cleveland could get a 10-point lead at any point. We know that. They could also trail the entire game. I'm going to go trails the entire game if you make me pick either one. I am. I don't, I wouldn't be shocked if they got out to a 10-0 lead to start the football game. But I could also see Kansas City getting the ball first with 2 weeks off and Andy Reid coming out with some sort of attack and new plays and things like that to where they jump out on Cleveland and never look back. And not that they blow them out, but Cleveland has to keep pace that way. I think if you're going to make me pick either one, I'm going to take that one.
I do. I agree with you. I think that Andy Reid now back in the mode of getting ready for the divisional round with a week off ahead of time. Remember last year they earned their week off, week 17, when the Patriots lost and the Chiefs won. And that moment, however long it lasted, it probably felt like it was 3 weeks of the Texans building a larger and larger and larger lead, and the season is falling in, and what in the hell? I don't think that goes away. Even when you come back and win the game and win the next 2 and win the Super Bowl, that feeling in the moment when you're down 24-0 at home after 2 weeks to get ready for this game, that doesn't go away. And I suspect that Andy Reid and company, a big part of their motivation last week and this week is to make sure that doesn't happen again. So, what Juju was trying to say last week, they're gray, nameless, faceless opponents to us. That's what the Chiefs need to do. They can't think it's just the Browns. They can't think, well, it's not the Ravens or it's not the Bills or it's not the Steelers or the Titans. It's a team that everyone just kind of looks at and says, you can't, I think the fact that they went through such a bad first quarter or so and saw their season flash before their eyes last year, I think they're going to be extra prepared to guard against that this time. And I love a good story. And again, I don't want to see the Chiefs exit the postseason so early, but man, if the Browns are good enough to beat them, so be it. I mean, I'm starting to get myself a little fired up for the possibility of an upset because that would be exciting. I can't think of a way that it happens other than an exact duplication of what we saw last week in Pittsburgh, where the first snap goes over Patrick Mahomes' head and then the Browns score a touchdown. And even then, I think the Chiefs are far better equipped to come back from something like that than the Steelers were.
Me too. I think the big thing, like we talked about in our picks podcast, right, a little bit, where to me the big question with Cleveland, you're hot on offense. You're executing at a very high level. You move the ball in whatever way you want. Do you want to just continue to attack on offense and feel like, hey, we feel like we can score with the Chiefs? Or do they try to hey, let's run the ball and be like the Colts last week that did against Buffalo and take the clock down to 2 or 3 seconds every play and then play that angle? I think that's an interesting conversation because they do have an offense that's moving the ball at will. And you might not want to kind of break your, momentum there. You've been attacking, aggressive, scoring points. I think it's something to kind of watch for when the game starts. I'll be interested to see how they attack it.
Another what's more likely category from that game, what's more likely, Patrick Mahomes throws an interception or throws for 4 or more passing touchdowns, Chris?
Ooh. If I'm picking one, I'm going to go 4+ passing touchdowns. The Browns defense, it's not great in the secondary. And Myles Garrett, with no Olivier Vernon, I'm going to go 4+ touchdown passes. That's a lot of damn touchdown passes, certainly, but it's not a lot for Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, really. It's kind of like middle of the road, blah, blah, blah type of day. So I'll go with that.
Do we have concern about, from the Chiefs' perspective, the return of the cornerbacks, Denzel Ward and Kevin Johnson for Cleveland?
No, I mean, that's a huge help for them. There's no question. That aspect of them being healthy. Denzel Ward is a guy where you can say, hey, you go cover Tyreek Hill. You're not going to do that all game long throughout, but you could certainly roll the dice and say, wait, he's not totally mismatched here. So there is that aspect of it. And here's another thing, Mike. Joe Woods, that D coordinator for the Browns, he was in San Francisco last year. He did spend 2 weeks of his life breaking down the Kansas City Chiefs for the Super Bowl. I would bet he has a pretty good feel of tendencies and things they like to do and things he might take from that game plan last year and apply it here. So that'll be something to watch for, too, early on, just to see how good of a feel he has for this offense.
The weekend begins on Saturday late afternoon with the Rams taking on the Packers in Green Bay. What's more likely? Aaron Donald, who's still a little banged up, but he declared yesterday he's healthy and he'll be good to go. He gets 2 or more sacks, or Aaron Rodgers gets 3 or more passing touchdowns. Keep this in mind. Aaron Donald had 2 sacks in the wild card game. It was his 3rd game this season with 2 or more sacks, and Aaron Rodgers threw 3 or more touchdown passes in 12 of 16 regular season games. So what's more likely?
I wouldn't be surprised if, either one, both of these didn't happen. I wouldn't. I just want to say that. I think Rodgers and LaFleur are very smart. They're going to have the offensive line sliding the right way for Aaron Donald to where he doesn't get a ton of one-on-ones and things like that. And, the thing I'd argue, too, and Pete, maybe you can look this up. Did anybody throw for 3 touchdown passes against the Rams this year other than Josh Allen? That's where and that Rams defense is better now than it was earlier this year. But I would bet you, other than Josh Allen and that, first quarter of the season, I don't think anybody's thrown for that type of output. That's going to be something to watch for. If you're going to make me pick one of the two, which you are because this is what's more likely, I'm going to go with Aaron Donald that gets 2+ sacks. I don't see Rodgers throwing 3+ touchdown passes in this game with this defense. No.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we talked about this in the Picks podcast yesterday. Will Jalen Ramsey, even if he's blanketing Devontae Adams, will Aaron Rodgers still try to throw it into some little crack, some little opening that he may find in there? But, Aaron Rodgers is unstoppable. He's the Terminator, as Sean McVay said, as it relates to Donald's ability to get ready. And Donald said yesterday he hopes it snows. There it is. Look at that. The Terminator will be ready.
Awesome.
He said he hopes it snows, but not too much. I don't know that other teammates would agree with him, specifically Jared Goff if he's playing quarterback, but Aaron Donald ready to go. He said he hasn't played in the snow since he was like 7 years old. Another one from that game on that question of whether to what extent Aaron Rodgers will throw the ball to Devontae Adams. What's more likely? 2 or more touchdown passes for Adams or 0?
Well, okay, and just to answer that, because Pete looked it up, did a great job. Kyler Murray threw for 3 touchdown passes, and Jimmy G. They also. So it is doable against that Rams defense, just to button that up. I think I'm going to go 0 TDs here. I think I could see 1 touchdown. I don't know. The Rams are really good. They have, in my opinion, the best corner in football in Jalen Ramsey. He is going to be in the face of Devontae Adams in some of these situations. And a lot of the times, because they're so good up front, they can play a lot of 2 safety defenses and do that. So I'm going to go with 0 TDs. I can't believe I'm saying that because, like you said, Rodgers and Adams is one of those where it's like, oh, you're covered? We don't care. I'll throw a strike. You got great hands. We'll still complete the pass. But I'm going to go 0 TDs. What about you?
Pete just pointed out DK Metcalf had 2 last week, but it I guess you could have 2 touchdowns in a game where you're being suffocated.
Right.
I mean, it's a 2 that didn't matter.
Yeah.
You assume that Devontae Adams gets 2, the Packers are going to win. I'll go with 2. What the hell? It's not like we ever bring these up 5 days later. What the hell? I'll go with 5. Who cares? but how the Rams have changed in 2 years, and we saw this coming. When they trade for Jalen Ramsey, that's the indication. This is a defense-heavy team. The offense isn't what it was. I still don't know why they gave Jared Goff $33.5 million when you consider where that defense is and where the offense is. But, they're going to have their chance. This is not going to be easy for the Packers. They win this game, they will have earned it.
Yeah, I agreed. And I think the Rams match up very well with them. There's great knowledge between these coaching staffs. McVay and LaFleur, they come from the same, tree of coaching, all of that. So this is going to be very interesting. I expect a close game. I would be shocked. And to the snow point with the Terminator there who says he hope it snows. Yeah, I'm that way too. I'd love to see a little snow, to just make it easy on the eye and look cool. But I don't want so much snow that it affects the football game. I don't want so much snow that the Rams, who are one of the fastest defenses in football, if not the fastest, now have that taken away from them completely, and it changes the dynamic of the game. I don't want that. I'll say the same thing with the Bills and Ravens game. As much as I'd like a little snow, I don't want so much that Lamar can't run and Josh Allen can't throw lasers. So I'm just hoping for just the right touch there, God. Can you please just give us just enough snow, God, to make it look good on TV but not affect the guys on the field?
The Green Bay forecast has adjusted. Currently, the high is 34, the low is 26, with a 51% chance of snow, but it's all early morning.
Okay.
Between
good.
midnight and 2 a.m. So by kickoff, it looks like it'll be low 30s, and I think wind could be an issue. Let me check that since I'm playing part-time meteorologist while we're doing this. The wind is going to be in the teens, not high teens, low teens.
Nothing
so no
for the great one. Oh, Aaron Rodgers can throw it through the wind, no problem.
You make a great point, though. We love a snow game, but not in a playoff game. I mean, I like the look of it, but you don't want some crazy Lions-Eagles snow. Remember that game? Remember There was a day in 2013 where there were like 3 or 4 snow games all at once. Vikings and the Ravens were one. The Eagles and the Lions were one. There were a couple others there. Those were the 2 worst. Because you don't – the best team isn't necessarily going to win under those circumstances. You're not going to see a great football game because the offense knows where it's going and the defense doesn't. You are conducive to having a lot more points being scored. Pete, look up the scores of those 2 games that day. I vaguely recall they were high scoring, but that was like December of 2013. I love a snow game. I like the look of the snow in the air and on the field, but not so much that it affects the game. Not in single elimination football.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I just, I want to see these teams at their best. I do. That's what I'm excited for more than anything this weekend. Some cold, some flurries. That's playoff football. I'll be very happy with that.
Well, our game on Saturday night has the Baltimore Ravens going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Here is Ravens defensive coordinator Wink Martindale on pressuring and tackling the guy who has become one of the best quarterbacks in all of football, Josh Allen.
He knows that there's going to be pressure, that's for sure. That's who we are. That's what we've done. To me, tackling him, you better throw big bodies at him because he's a big body. And I told the defense earlier, we need to tackle him like you tackle Henry because that's the way he runs.
And I mean, you're right. You got to get to him. You got to get him on the ground. And we didn't see it as much last week. He had 90-plus rushing yards in the playoff loss to the Texans in the wild card round last year. He had 54 against Indianapolis. He wasn't unleashed the way he could have been. I think they're holding that back for when they need it. And maybe they need it on Saturday night. I think they'll know when they need it.
Right.
But until they need it, let's just work our offense. Our offense works. And, we talked in the Mega Picks joint podcast yesterday about the possibility of the Ravens neutralizing Stephon Diggs. That may create a situation where they need Josh Allen to run the ball a little bit more to keep those safeties honest and not helping out over the top because you never know when Josh Allen's going to find a seam and just take off. But he's got the ability to do it. Both quarterbacks in that game have the ability to kill you with their legs.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 of the 3 best running quarterbacks in the sport, right? I mean, really, Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, you're going 1 and 2. And I think realistically, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, I believe just off the top of my head, Josh Allen is number 3, right? I mean, that's at least the way I'm thinking about it. I didn't think about this great Deshaun Watson right there. We know that. But I think Josh Allen is 3. And, Wink, he's funny. I love how he's like, oh, he knows we're going to pressure. Like, yeah, they're going to blitz. They're the Baltimore Ravens. How much are they going to blitz? That is going to be the big question. You better be careful about blitzing the big guy. My boy Blue, he can beat you with bronze or brain when it comes to the blitz. That's where he's scary. Last week, you're blitzing the free safety, going to do that. He blocked it up and got everybody, and bam, 40-yard touchdown pass, Stephon Diggs. You want to blitz? Okay, fine. But you could blitz and get free, and what I've seen all year is he'll make the free guy miss, and now he's out on the edge, and you got one less guy to cover or track him down running the ball, and that's where he gets dangerous. And Mike, I think the interesting thing about the matchup to me is just because we've seen Baltimore take this approach against Kansas City, and it doesn't work. And this is the closest thing we got to Kansas City in football and Buffalo up there. Quarterback, the style of play, everything. To where, I thought they got Yannick Ngakoue to go, wait, when we play the Mahomes and Josh Allens of the world, we're not going to – we can't blitz all the time and leave our corners on an island against this group of guys and these quarterbacks because they're just going to make plays and there's nothing we can do. So that's where I'm really intrigued by the matchup, to see the approach by the Ravens. Do they really blitz? Is Wink setting them up to go, oh, yeah, we're going to blitz, and now we're going to drop out and play coverage all game? I'm really fascinated from the different angles of this matchup.
And you've got me thinking about running quarterbacks. Here's my quick assessment.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, explosive, fast, gone.
Right.
Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, they have more of an artful sense of where the other guys aren't.
Sure.
There isn't that burst that you see from Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. I think Josh Allen's closer to the Jackson and Murray duo.
Because he's got that burst.
The Watson and Mahomes, because he's got the burst.
I think I'm with you.
I think he is number 3.
Right. Yeah, he's got some of that. He is. He's a different way in which he moves than, you're right, Mahomes or Watson, who kind of weave their way in and out of traffic and fade back and do all that stuff. Allen's kind of just sit there. Oh, you're getting close. Boom, I'm out of here either way. And you're right. That's kind of more like Lamar and Kyler. But he's dangerous. And you're right. That running aspect, even though last week, he led the team in rushing, it wasn't big runs. Where he's dangerous is down in that red zone. We saw him score a touchdown right before halftime, right, with that 5-yard run. That's where they put you in a bind too. Man, they got a great passing attack. Man, they got these receivers we'd like to double. Wow, we'd like to blitz him so he doesn't buy time all day long and score. Oh, wait, we got to worry about the design quarterback run game. Now we're one short. I mean, they really pose some problems for you, that offense down there in that area.
I remember when we all saw it for the first time, the Bills were 17-point underdogs in Minnesota, and Josh Allen ran over, through, and around, and literally hurdled Anthony Barr in that game. And we were like, holy crap, this guy can run the ball pretty well. And they don't use it a lot, but when they do, it's very effective. So to get to the topic finally, after talking about that for 5 minutes.
That was a good combo, though. I liked it.
It was a fun conversation. What's more likely, Josh Allen is sacked 3 or more times by the Ravens or has 3 or more total touchdowns?
Whoa. I mean, this is one I can certainly see both of these happening. Wow. Because I do think Allen's going to get sacked a few times in this game. He's going to buy time. They're going to confuse them with coverages. They'll have a few crazy blitzes that, that's going to take them an in-game adjustment to get ready for. Woo, man. Okay, I'm going to go 3+, sacked 3+ times. I'm going to go sack 3+ times.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I can't believe I'm saying that either. But I could see Josh Allen having 2 touchdowns and then maybe kicking 2 or 3 field goals and winning the game that way too, or somebody else gets, the running back. I don't know. But Baltimore's defense, I'm going to go with the sacks.
Lamar Jackson, what's more likely? He has over 100 rushing yards or under 50 for the game?
If out of those, I'm
136 against the Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to go over 100. Now, they played at the end of last year, and I mentioned this on our podcast, when we talked about these matchups really in depth. Buffalo had a very good approach to stopping the Lamar Jackson Baltimore Ravens run game. Now, they let up a few big pass plays in the game. One was a long touchdown to, the tight end they traded down there to the Atlanta Falcons, Hayden Hurst. But I'm going to go – I don't see under 50. I mean, under 50 is like almost impossible, I think, for Lamar Jackson. So if I have to choose out of either one of those, I'm going to go over 100.
Yeah, I agree with you. The over-under was 77.5. We talked about that on the Mega Picks podcast, and maybe he's going to be in that gulf between 50 and 100. But to choose between the two, I would take that one as well. All right, the Bucs at the Saints, the last game of the weekend, the epic battle between a couple of old quarterbacks. Here we go. Tom Brady has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, or Drew Brees has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. What's more likely?
I mean,
and for the season,
I know.
And this is amazing.
Yeah.
In their 2 meetings this season, Brady has 2 touchdowns and 5 picks. Breeze has 6 touchdowns, no picks.
It's the ultimate show of it's a matchup league. I mean, it's not even close to who's playing at a higher level. I mean, it's Tom Brady. It's disrespectful to even compare them at this point, in my opinion. Brady is on fire, phenomenal. They are doing things that, only quarterbacks with a great arm like his can really do on the offensive side of the ball. But for this specific matchup, I'll pick Drew Brees because I think Brady and them, again, it's aggressive passing offense. They're going to have to win with him holding the ball in the pocket and making big throws. That, I think, will lend itself to at least one interception. Brees, on the other hand, I think they'll be able to kind of dink and dunk their way, and he won't have to take those chances.
Yeah, boy, yeah, I keep going back and forth on this game. I'll agree with you that Breeze is more likely to go 3 TD, 0 INT. That doesn't change my belief as articulated in the Mega Picks podcast that I think the Bucs will somehow, some way pull a rabbit out of their hats and also pull the heart out of the chest of the Saints and show it to them for the 4th straight year where the Saints have
a mumsy bye.
Devastating. That's right. Kalima. A devastating exit to the postseason. But I'll agree with you on Breeze.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.